Hello and welcome to Setting the Stage. I'm Isaac Shaker, and this is episode 70, Sensei Suplex and Project Aurora. Sensei Suplex does some videos on DMing on YouTube and Instagram, and he also has a large project called Project Aurora, where he does like a big MMO-style D&D setting that's for thousands of different players with dozens of different DMs. So let's listen and hear about it. All right, I'm here today with Sensei Suplex to talk about his, I don't know, like there's all sorts of stuff you're doing, but Project Aurora is the big one. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to just talk all things, well, D&D, TTRPGs, Aurora, all of it. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, usually what we do is we ask who you are like outside of TTRPGs to kind of get a broader scope of who you are as a person, which from what I gather is maybe a weaker question for you because this is your job. But yeah, you want to talk about who Sensei Suplex is outside of RPGs?
Sure. Actually, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll answer it in two ways. I'll answer it in like who I am, like, you know, outside of TTRPGs and all that stuff. And then if you don't mind, maybe I can even answer it like who I want to be kind of known for when it comes to TTRPGs and D&D. Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. So I guess outside of D&D, I do a lot of random things. So you will see me, you know, rolling dice, doing Dungeons and Dragons and all that stuff. But then outside of it, I actually am very much into tons of things. Some sports, but not too many. And like I'm into WWE, which is actually where the suplex part of my name comes from. I'm into Taekwondo, which is actually how the sensei part comes in. Even though it's in Taekwondo, it's more of like just master rather than sensei, but still, it's a play on words. Yeah. And then recently, I also started playing volleyball a lot, and it's taken over my life. I love it.
All right, cool.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just your average nerd. I play a lot of video games. I'm into a lot of anime. All things nerds, I'm probably into it, or I'm willing to at least try it out, you know?
Yeah, I figured the suplex was coming from WWE or anime because I think it's a frequent joke in anime as well.
I only recently noticed that. Like, yeah, every single time there's like a fight, every now and again, there's just some guy randomly suplexing another. I'm like, dang, I love it.
Yeah, it's good. Well, how did you? I mean, you're talking about this like exercise stuff, so it's more like your active hobbies, and then your more like passive hobbies, I guess, are RPGs and video games, which I guess is pretty common for people that like RPGs to also be into video games.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's flipped because as you kind of mentioned, I do D&D for a living. So like I do this or run Project Aurora as my actual job. It's great because I get to do something I literally love and be able to, you know, kind of survive off of that. So it's weird. So it's like technically it's like my main hobby, sure. And then the thing to keep me sane outside of it is, you know, working out, doing volleyball, all that stuff, right?
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. How did you get into RPGs in the first place?
It was a while ago, I guess now, but not too long ago. So roughly around 2018, I believe it was either 2018 or 2019. It's like freshman year in college. I'm young, right? Yeah. So freshman year of college, I remember I think it was like around finals time or something close to that. Everybody's just bored out of their mind. And I remember my roommate, Dylan, he's like, hey, Key, we're about to go play, we're about to play this game called Dungeons and Dragons down the hall. You down? And I'm like, I'm not going to play that stupid nerd game. What are you talking about? Right. Yeah. But I'll watch you guys play it. Sure. I'll watch you guys play it. So I was trying to be the cool kid, I guess. I don't know why, even though I'm watching like anime and playing video games, all types of stuff. It's
I get it. Like one of my friends has been playing for years. Biggest nerd you can imagine. He's got like a PhD in physics. Still embarrassed to tell people that he plays D&D like every other week when he meets someone new.
Yeah, exactly. So like here I am. I go down in the hall. They're running the session 0, right? They're doing character creation, and the DM basically says something along the lines, Josh, I'll never forget it. He says, So yeah, D&D, it's this game where you basically like play as a different character, and you can basically be pretty much anybody, right? You can be literally like a warrior from across the land. You can be an elf. You can be a wizard. You can be literally Link from Legend of Zelda if you want to. You can be whatever you want. And I don't know what it was, but something clicked in my brain when he said that, and I was like, wait, you can be anybody, anything? And he was like, yeah, you can be whatever you want. This game's all about imagination. And immediately right then and there, I completely did a 180. I went from like never wanting to touch this game known as Dungeons and Dragons to being like slapping the table, being like, all right, I want to figure this out. I want in. Put me in. Put me in. And
right.
that's how it was. It was magical from session 0 to, well, fast forward, what, 7 years later.
That's pretty cool. So you got into it in college, pretty common thing, introduced by a friend. When did you transition to being more of a DM?
So I tell this story every now and again. I think I even did a video about it a while ago. I became a DM because I was addicted to D&D. So
Yeah.
after the 5th session, I was like, this was the day afterwards. We played on Wednesdays, and I was like, man, I want to play more Dungeons and Dragons. That session was awesome. And I'm like, dang, we got to wait like 6 more days so we can play again. Crud. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Eric, Dylan, I'll run a D&D session. I want to play some more. Whatever. So I take an hour or so to like, oh God, plan on Discord my entire D&D session, or using like Microsoft PowerPoint or something ridiculous, like absolutely absurd. I didn't know what I was doing. I grabbed like not construction paper, but like printer paper, and I like draw out battle maps with like a broken number 2 pencil. I get like quarters and pennies and just toss them onto the thing, and like, Dylan, you're the penny, Eric, you're the quarter. And like I try to like cut out like random crappy miniatures. It was so bad, it was so scuffed. I TPK'd both of them. They made new characters. It was awful, but that was the first time I ever started DMing. And then eventually I actually transitioned into running D&D for a group of friends on Discord who had played it, and the experience for them, it wasn't necessarily the greatest. Like, people didn't really know the rules or know what was going on. So I was like, you know what, I think I can give a second shot. It can't be any worse than what I did the first time. And that became the first ever campaign for Project Aurora, called Leonios Rising. And the rest is history.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like everyone makes some mistakes when they're first playing. Like, being obsessed with correctness is probably not the way to get started, you know?
Oh, no, not at all. But we do it anyways. We're human, right?
Yeah. And it reminds me of when I was first starting to play online, of like, there weren't a lot of tools for that yet. So I was pointing like a camera at a battle map to try and capture it that way, which was probably terrible quality, and people that I was playing with had no idea what was going on with the board. But I don't know. It's better than nothing.
Absolutely.
Well, cool.
Actually, how did you start playing D&D, or I guess DMing in general? What about you?
Well, I started playing because my dad and my best friend's dad, when I was like 9 years old, wanted to play again, so they were introducing us to D&D. So I was playing with my best friend's dad was the DM. My best friend and a few of my other friends were playing. And then my dad was like the sort of assistant coach, so he was like another player, but keeping us focused and on track. I don't know if this was your experience when you were first playing, because you were in college, but I feel like a lot of high schoolers and middle schools, when they start playing, are very like little treasure goblins, just looking around trying to kill monsters and find loot, and not really interacting with the world. So my dad was the one that was making sure that we interacted with the world and actually engaged with what the story was supposed to be. And we did a campaign with my best friend's dad, a campaign with my dad, and then I took over DMing after that, and I've been the main DM for my group ever since, and we've stuck together. So we kept playing, and then we transitioned to the goofy Skype camera pointing at the battle mat thing, and then Roll20 came out, and that was much much easier to work with for online play.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, and now there's all sorts of other things, but yeah, that was the first big one.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was lucky enough to like know that Roll20 existed when I first started DMing, because we the people I was playing with, we all played online, because these were just friends all over Discord, right? So we kind of had to use a VTT. We couldn't really just use campus because most of us couldn't afford it, or we just didn't have one, and we weren't willing to buy it for this random game that we really don't care about right now, right?
Yeah. When did Roll20 come out? Yeah, it was. Yeah, it came out after we'd started playing online, so that's why there were other solutions then, but they did not work very well. I remember what some people would do is they would have like an Excel sheet as their battle map and like email it back and forth.
What?
Well, because it's a grid, right? Like it has a grid, so like you're Peter on the grid, or Suplex, or Key, you know, what his name. And then you move that around, and then you email it to someone else for their turn. It was.
I've never heard of that before. What? That's awesome. Wait.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound ideal at all, but
No.
just the fact that like people were making that work, that's insane.
Yeah. I mean, voice calls were starting to be around then, so that was, and video calls, so you could have that part. I think it was like multi-voice calls were just coming out around then. Because usually you had to pay for them, and now it was like, oh, now everybody gets them for free because they're trying to push it out to more people on Skype, which is now a dead technology. Wow.
Yeah, hey, whatever works.
Yeah. But yeah, Discord works way better because it's just much lower bandwidth. Like Skype, we had all sorts of connection issues because it sucks up a lot more of what your computer needs to work. Discord is intended to be low profile, and you can even lower it further, because usually it has like 64 kilobits per second for the voice channel. That's the default, but you can lower it. If someone's having connection issues, you can make that into like 8 kilobits per second. The voice quality will start to suffer at that point, but you'll still understand it.
Yeah.
All right, so you got this like big project. So I guess it started with that first campaign. How did it sort of get into this larger, I guess, multi-employee business at this point?
Yeah. So, oh boy. To figure out what happened with or that campaign and then how Aurora came to be. Well, so we started at around 2019. And you may know what happened in the year afterwards.
Yep.
So fast forward. So, we've been running this campaign for the better part of like I want to say a couple months or a year now or something like that. Like it's some time that I just don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Things are going great. And then, everything happens. So I see like my in-person game, the game I first started playing D&D with, those group of people, we obviously couldn't really like hang out anymore, or at least in person to play the game. And then some individuals that I saw that have been playing D&D for a long time, they had canceled their games because they just couldn't do it. Other individuals, even like people like Critical Role, they had to shut down their game as well. And it was just like, dang, this sucks. So it was like, man, all these campaigns with all these crazy stories that are now going by unfinished and players are unsatisfied. But like, why does it have to be like that? Why do these campaigns have to end? Why? I remember staring literally up at the ceiling one day, just being like, man, what if like the campaign would kind of just keep on going and just going and going? Like, I don't know, maybe some MMO thing, or maybe just like where the war or the events that you guys participated in, they become the lore for the next game. Now, this idea, I'm not going to lie, it's not revolutionary. People have done this for decades. Like, there's even a guy who's been running a game since I think like the 80s or 70s or something like that, and they're still playing in the same world. This is nothing new. But,
Yep.
But I was like, this seems maybe cool. So I pitched the idea. I'm like, well, what if we could have it where all these guys, like all these DMs that I've met over the years, I can maybe ask them, hey, do you want to, join this little thing so that way, even if one person's campaign dies out, someone else can maybe like pick it up and run it, or maybe it can affect another group's thing or something, this, that, and the third. Crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the idea, like, I had nothing better to do in like 2020, so I'm like, all right, we're gonna make this serious. I dress up in like a business suit and tie or whatever. I make the crappiest PowerPoint you can imagine, explaining the concept and idea, and I'm like, all right, here's the pitch, Project Aurora. And that's basically how it got started.
Who did you pitch it to there?
So I pitched it to my original DM. I pitched it to my my in-person group of players, or like in-person like the people I was playing with, that first group of D&D.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
So just like people you already knew that played.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Okay.
I'm just like, okay, you guys in? And they're like, eh.
I was initially imagining you going into like a bank and like trying to get a loan to start.
No. So I got this idea. No. No. So I pitched it to them. They're like, yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And we came up with some things. Granted, they didn't really have to do anything. They just kind of like kept playing in their own worlds, and then we kind of just figured out ways to connect the lore and all this stuff. And we kind of made it work. Like, it wasn't perfect. It was very much janky. And we really did have to learn as we go to eventually expand it. Now, obviously, people come and people go. Not everybody's that was a part of that original group are playing D&D or necessarily playing in Aurora, and that's perfectly fine. That's not the point. The point is that, hey, your actions, your story is going to live on for years after you're pretty much long gone, whether you're playing or not. It doesn't matter. The point is that it happened and it mattered, right?
Yeah. I think that's. I mean, I've interviewed a couple different people that had the same experience where they started something in college that they then have expanded into like this larger world that has grown into like this, big shared experience between bunches of different people that, it's way bigger than you could have originally imagined.
Yeah. And we've had many iterations. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But so many iterations onto Project Aurora throughout the years. We break it down into versions. So we called that version 0.5, when it was just kind of me, a couple of friends, and we're just kind of running D&D in the same world, just hoping for the best, right? Mm-hmm. Eventually, I started streaming the games, and then because, everybody's inside, I actually somehow got lucky and got a little bit of traction streaming my games in the morning. I never forget, it was like Wednesdays at 8 a.m. But man, I love that 8 a.m. game with everything I could. I streamed it. We got some people. I remember it was like 5 viewers one week, then 6 viewers, then 9 viewers, then 12 viewers. And I was like, don't you guys have anything better to do? And they're like, nah, we're just chilling. We're having a great time. And
just turn it on in the morning while you're getting ready to go to work.
Yeah. And hey, it worked. And those people eventually wanted to play D&D, so they became players in the world. Some of them were dungeon masters, and they're like, hey, this sounds neat when I started talking about it. And they signed up to be a DM, and then we just kept growing and growing from there. That was the 0.5 era before eventually we got so big to the point where we wanted to expand it and like build it from the ground up and make sure it was right from the beginning. Mm-hmm. We called this the mini project, so we tried to like do a more focused thing. But that failed because this guy is a great leader and individual who knows that dungeon masters surely just want to be figureheads, and they don't want to actually world build or anything like that. We'll let a lore team do that for them. We'll just have them just sit down at the table after 3 months of just sitting on their hands, and then we'll tell them to DM. That went about as well as you can imagine.
There are people that like that, but yeah, I feel like it's a particular type of person that likes that.
Absolutely. So, like, imagine this. Like, imagine you see this whole project and it's like, man, I want to get involved with it. But I imagine most of those people didn't want to sit for 3 months doing pretty much nothing and then get told, like, this is what you're going to run. It was a bad set of expectations. But hey, you live and you learn, and then that's why you try to expand and improve on it in the future. So
yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of iterations, but I guess I'd leave it to you when or what you'd want me to focus on.
Well, I was curious about the lore master thing, which I guess is that separation you were talking about. I guess the main question is when did it transition from being like you just sort of hanging with your friends to being more of like a paid service? And
Right.
from what I understand, that transition happened like before the more official shopping marts like Start Playing Games came out. So you were still kind of doing this on your own.
I believe so. Well, yes, it did. I'm trying to remember when Start Playing Games came out. Also, just as a note, I've actually met the founder of Start Playing Games. Devin is literally amazing. They're great people over there. Oh my gosh.
Cool.
If you guys ever you guys ever looking for like a place to play D&D, those are your people. They're great.
Yeah,
But that aside,
I think it was about 3 years ago.
was it that? No, it can't be that early, is it? Is it really?
Yeah, I'm surprised too, but yeah, I think it was like maybe a little bit sooner than that for like an initial concept, but that's when it kind of exploded.
That's insane because that's actually like right when I started doing it professionally. So I guess, or maybe it was 2021, but I guess to explain what happened or when the transition happened. Well, it didn't happen because I just said, you know what? I think I'm going to start making my players pay for D&D. That was not the conversation at all.
I didn't think so.
What happened was I kind of actually had to do it. So back when I was still living with my mom, because obviously, world's on fire, right?
Right.
And it was a case of, okay, hey, bills, they're getting bigger. And you need to basically start working. You're spending your time doing this whole streaming thing, blah, 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 but you're gonna need to, like, you're 21 or 22 years old, you got to start paying bills. I don't have any money, so that means I have to get a job. The problem is that the only job that I could have really gotten was working with my stepdad at the time. I hated that job. I hated it with every fiber in my being. I was extremely depressed while working at it. It was like a factory job, and he actually told me the reason why he had me work at that job was so I could be depressed. There's a reason why. So I would never want to work something like that ever again, and aspire to actually like chase after something bigger and never let my just passions just kind of fly by and just be regretful I didn't ever chase after them, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like I didn't. So I was like, okay, well, I have two options. Either A, I could get a job and go work that thing that I absolutely hate, or somehow, some way, I've heard people charging for D&D. I don't know anything about it, but let's look into this. Let's see if we can lock in and figure out a way to make this work. So I look up tons and tons of videos. At this point, I'm like looking into constant videos saying like how to be a better streamer, how to be a better YouTuber, all this, that, and the third. I'm like most people during like that time, they're watching like Netflix all day. I wasn't doing that. I was watching YouTube videos of how to be better every single like moment I could possibly. I just could. And afterwards, yeah. I like tell my players, I'm like, oh God, don't hate me, but I think I'm gonna have to charge for my games. I'm gonna have to charge $5 a month. Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing.
$5 a month. Yeah. So imagine like all the prep, all of the time or mental bandwidth that you have to expend on prepping your sessions, running your sessions, scheduling nightmares, all that stuff. I was charging $5 a month for my games.
And you're still playing like 3-4 times a month for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like basically covering expenses.
Barely. That could cover like a D&D Beyond subscription or something like that at the time. Yeah, it was nothing.
I mean, for each player, I guess, but still, like, then you're getting what, like $5 per session amongst 4 players. So,
yeah, it was not sustainable. So, I mean, as I quickly figured out, once, my mom basically said, hey, you gotta figure this out. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to run a actual paid game. Apparently the average is like $20 a session. I don't think I'm good enough for that. I'm going to charge $10 a session. Despite people saying like, this is the best D&D I played, whatever. I'm going to charge $10 a session because I don't want to really charge D&D. I just got to do it because I want to, continue that vision of making sure that a world exists where your stories will forever matter. It was kind of just bigger than me at the time, which is why I wanted to really, really make sure that Aurora lived.
Yeah.
So I go to D&D Beyond. I put out a a post saying, "Hey, I'm looking to run a game. It's going to be called Sands of Sin. It's in this new homebrew setting that I'm going to be running, and I just want to run a 4-session thing and see if I can do this." It got no views.
Oh,
But one day there was this group of individuals. Never forget them. His name was Sean, and they were a group of friends who've been knowing each other like since they were kids. And they said, "Hey, oh shoot, you're a DM. We checked out your stuff, and we just want to support another black DM in the space and all that cool stuff. And they're doing it professionally. Absolutely, take our money." And they took a chance on me, and I was nervous as all heck, but it was like, holy crap, I could actually do this. So I'm like freaking out, having nearly a panic attack, session 0, and I like lock myself in my room. I'm like, "Mom, don't bug me. This is serious business right here." I'm like, I got a glass of water. I'm like, oh man, I could still remember the jitters that I had that day. I run the session 0. They were the most chill people I've ever met. They're just like, "Yeah, we're down to just play whatever you get or whatever you got for us. We're just here to play D&D and just have a great time." And I was like, sick. So we went through that session 0. I ran session 1, and I just had to remember everything that I did leading up to this point. I remember that first session, I TPK'd my party. I remembered all the lessons that I learned since then, and I knew that, hey, it's just running D&D, and I'm just here to make sure that they have fun. I don't got to have the craziest script. I don't have to have the craziest NPCs or craziest battle mats. I just got to make sure that they have fun at the end of the day.
yep.
And they did.
Yeah. I feel like that applies for a lot of things that people do. Once you relax,
Yeah.
like it becomes so much easier and more fun for everybody there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So fast forward. I mean, I'm running for I'm running that game, and I'm like, all right, guys. We're about to hit the 4th session, so just remember that we got the 4th session coming up next week. I'll see you guys then. They literally stopped me. They're like, "So, Sensei, yeah, you're not leaving, dog." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" "Yeah, you're not leaving. Like, we want to keep playing here." And I'm like, "Wait, what? What? You guys want me to keep charging you money to play D&D?" They're like, "Yeah. What?" Okay. So I end up adding them into a big old campaign called Soulbound, which was going to be like, easiest way to explain it, it's Lord of the Flies meets Horizon Zero Dawn and WandaVision. I know that's like 3 crazy genres mashed together, but
Well, I feel like Lord of the Flies and Horizon Zero Dawn kind of fit together, but squishing in WandaVision feels like okay.
okay, so like, what if imagine that concept originally with those two. Imagine if it was like a game show that was a test on, like, it just felt like a sitcom or a game show that the players didn't know they were a part of a sitcom or game show.
Okay, interesting. All right.
Yeah. That was a plot point that they kind of figured out later with the BBG. It was ridiculous, but yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that whole thing happened, and eventually, like, I asked, "Hey, I'm going to be charging this thing for $20 a month or $40 a month," and they're like, "Yeah, sure, we'll play." Got a bunch of people to sign up, and shortly afterwards, I was making $1,000 a month. Like a stupid guy who is 20 or 21 or whatever, however old I was, I decided to move out, get my own apartment, like a big shot. I get my own apartment with a couple friends, my best friend from high school and his girlfriend, and that's when I really was doing this whole thing full time. And that was, yeah, that's how Project Aurora like really was able to start turning into a business eventually. But it all started with me kind of becoming a professional DM first.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And you don't have to share your money with Start Playing either.
I guess, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, hey, Patreon did take their cut, so hey.
Yeah.
I can, if you want me to, I can go into details of how it like really became a business.
Yeah,
at some
sure.
point.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Like, because I know it's expanded beyond something that just you're doing, and that now you have like other DMs. So I am curious about that transition from being just Sensei Suplex to Sensei Suplex Media Empire.
Sure. Yeah. So whenever there is pressure, aka like a lot of things are sort of happening all at once, then sometimes you just got to figure out how to adapt. And after things are kind of opening back up in the world, people have less time, things are getting more expensive, you know it. And because of that, well, I'm not able to. Eventually, I end up. Well, I eventually had to move out from living with my friend at the time, and I had to get my own apartment. Now I'm paying bills, but I'm having to pay like $1,500 for a freaking single bedroom apartment. It was awful, but hey,
Jeez, yeah.
it was something because I just did not want to move back with my parents. I just was not having it, right?
Yeah, no, I get that.
Once you get that freedom as a kind of kid, like you really never want to go back at that point.
Yeah, it feels like failure to go back. Yeah, no, I understand.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, well, rent's literally coming up or coming due very soon. I'm running out of funds here, man. What was it? I remember I went back home on, I think, either Thanksgiving or Christmas. It was one or the other. And my uncle, he gave me a book. It was called like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Point is that they basically had something. It was some sort of saying. It was something along the lines of like the rich don't work for money or something like that. And I was like, the frick does that mean? All right, whatever, stupid. Okay. Then I thought about it. I was like, okay, how can I actually apply this to D&D? I'm like, oh wait, duh. I'm not saying I'm Bill Gates or anything like that, but Bill Gates doesn't necessarily run, every single store that he owns. That doesn't make any sense. He is the person at the top, and he kind of manages all the people who run the stuff for him. What if I just did that? I mean, I already literally have multiple DMs in Aurora that do their thing. What if we just have them run paid games like I do?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds smart. Okay, cool, let's do it. And hey, I'm just gonna try this thing. I'm gonna freaking put a Hail Mary out there, and we're gonna hope for the best. I'm gonna charge for this experience. We're gonna charge $60 a month. We're gonna make a West Marches game. Because I don't remember exactly where I got the idea of making it a West Marches. I don't remember. I was thinking about this earlier, but whatever.
I mean, it's certainly simpler, and I think it also matches with how like the more official like Living Greyhawk and Adventurers League manage it, where you show up at a game store, you want to play in like your Adventurers League thing, and you match up with whoever else is there that day.
Absolutely. I would say, I mean, hindsight is 2020. I would have absolutely never did a West Marches knowing what I know now compared to back then. I would have went back with the traditional campaign format and just had people charge for it. Ironically, I would have did exactly what StartPlaying.Games did, like word for word. Holy moly. The amount of logistics that you have to do for a West Marches when you're running for multiple DMs and then you're also having a paid experience. My goodness. Whew. But
I'm surprised. I figured it was like less overhead because you don't need to track storylines for it.
No.
Okay.
Oh, man. There's a lot of things that you have to factor in when it comes to just D&D and then charging for stuff. This is the reason why StartPlaying.Games kind of, has a charged option in the first place. And they actually, I think Jenny D posted a video about this fantastic video. Everybody should go check it out. It kind of sheds a light on like professional DMing and all that stuff. But when you charge for a service or charge for D&D, you have typically a very much more dedicated player base. Individuals who are more willing to show up because, they're paying for this experience. They're less willing to cancel on things or just, be like, screw it, it's not that worth it. And on top of that, they're more willing to, pay attention and really be engaged and invested into the whole experience, making it overall better. So, sure, for a West Marches format, that may be the case. It may be the case where it's made for people to be able to drop in and drop out, sure. But whenever you most people come in for D&D to be able to tell a story that actually means something and matters. When you have individuals who are kind of dropping in and out and the story isn't really that much of a focus, for some people it's fine, for others not so much. So you need that little bit of investment or engagement from your fellow player, or sometimes it just doesn't really work. Too many people are looking for too many different things. But the other important part, and this is actually why you kind of have to charge money in the first place, is because, when you ask so many people that, hey, you got to do that, you got to run D&D, but you have to show up to meetings because we got to actually meet up to say, hey, this is the storylines that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that you need to make sure that happens in your games, or this is this person's backstory. You got to make sure that's consistent and all that stuff. That's a lot. That's a big ask to do consistently on top of work, on top of family, on top of your own home game, all that stuff. And we tried it without charging for money. It failed. That was the mini project. So we tried to charge money, and it actually worked because people were motivated to actually do the thing because this is now a job rather than just some fun little hobby, right? So, yeah, that's putting it all together. The TLDR is that for something that requires a lot more effort in the form of a West Marches with multiple DMs rather than just one DM, you have to make sure that everybody's invested into the whole experience and making sure it's the best it can possibly be. Charging was the solution for that, which eventually led to problems later on, but that's another thing later, which we can go on into further down into the other interview.
I mean, that's something I've been curious about for paid games, whether you actually... Because it feels like there is somewhat of like this race to the bottom on pricing that's happened on Start Playing Games. Like you mentioned, like, I don't want to charge $20 per session. I'm going to charge 10 because I don't trust myself. And I feel like a lot of people do that, and it ends up just sort of providing downward pressure on the price that isn't necessary. I think a lot of people could be charging $50 a session, and people would pay it because they'll associate the price with quality.
Mm-hmm.
People associate value with the price.
Yeah, I think there was a test or a study. It was like a wine bottle case study or something like that. They kind of like put 3 bottles of wine in front of like people. They took the labels off and just said, "Hey, which one do you like the most or whatever?" And all of them were the exact same, but they just picked whichever one. It didn't really matter. But the second that they placed a wine bottle that had like a label or something on it, then they perceived that one to be more, I hate this word, valuable, but or better, simply just because of the name, the brand, or what that kind of meant for other like wine connoisseurs. Because
right, yeah,
they just kind of expect a higher price quality because the price is higher. It makes sense that they should get something better, right?
Yeah, and it's like a psychological effect where they start thinking that it tastes better because they've been told that it should.
Yeah. Now, that
not to mean that you're tricking your customers. I understand the psychology.
That's worth $5 for 500. I did it.
Yes. No, I mean, I've thought about if I wanted to start playing games to do it as $50 a session, unlike the other 10, 20 ones that people are doing. Partially just because if someone sorts by price, it'll be at the top.
Fair.
It's just search engine optimization.
I think one thing that people also forget is that it's easy to raise or lower your prices. That's the easy part. You just let's say for Start Playing, you just input a different number, dude, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
The hard part is actually getting people to say yes, and I'm not saying, oh, you gotta deceive them. No, not at all. It's more so you have to have a proven track record to have people to say, this is something I enjoy and I would love to keep doing it again and again and again. Going back to that other story where I was saying like the first time I ever did professionally DMing where that group took a chance on me, I showed them, hey, this is the thing that I've done. I've been DMing for several years. This is my community. They saw that. They were like, hey, that seems, I have enough proof that I think this will be a good time. We're going to take a chance. They took a chance. They liked it, and they want to keep playing afterwards. Because, hey, if you get somebody to pay you $200, let's say, for a session, like a single session for whatever reason, then sure, you got them to pay for once. But if they hated it, they'll never do it again. And then, 2, they'll also tell their friends that you suck and you're a scam artist, and you're never going to get anybody after that, right?
Right, yeah.
So,
you have to deliver on the promise, of course.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's that.
Well, yeah, I feel like from what I saw on your Instagram reels, you've massively delivered on the promise. Are you still doing all that extra stuff?
What particularly?
Like it mentions like after you've finished like your initial experience, like getting to, I think it was like level 5 or 6, getting character art for your character.
Yeah.
You're doing personality matching for player groups to try and get people that mesh well together. You're offering like homebrew stuff for character customization, which maybe isn't that fancy because I feel like a lot of groups do that. But and just like the shared experience with other people, like you can get into a Discord server and be like, we're in this town and we're going on this adventure. Anyone know any nice bars in this town? Like, we're all playing pretend, but still have these funny questions for each other. And then someone else can say like, oh yeah, go to this one, don't go to that one because the other one has like a pickpocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, how much of that extra stuff are you still providing at this point?
Oh, everything. A lot. So, okay. So one of the things that we had to figure out for Project Aurora, or PA for short, was, well, one, stuff's expensive, dog. If we're gonna have to be able to pay for a whole bunch of staff members, then we need to, we have to charge a price that is high and that people are willing to pay for it. How do we get them to pay for it? Well, it's not just the D&D game. That basically how we got around that. So, sure, we sell access to the universe and stuff like that, and like how much you can play, sure, whatever. But ironically, this is actually a thing that most people don't know about when they see a Project Aurora and its prices. We actually charge less compared to the per session compared to the average game on, let's say, Start Playing, right? Mm-hmm. For example, you can get, I think, 6 sessions for like $100. Yeah, $100. Yeah, 6 sessions for $100 compared to like the average. I think they said it was like $20 to $30 on Start Playing or something like that.
It's I think it's 20. Yeah.
I think that's hold on, 100 divided by 6, quick math. Yeah, that's $16. So that's actually below the average. And on top of that, well, you get more games than what you typically pay for. And you can also play it whenever you want. So it's because it's a West Marches format. If you're only free on Wednesdays or on Wednesday that week, but then your schedule changed up and you got to play on a Friday the next week, sure, go for it. Absolutely. We're here when you are ready to play. We have other things where it's like, if you're also going to be able to get 2 pieces of art for your character whenever you reach certain things or whenever you're ready. So we have people and we have tons of amazing, like, if you've ever seen any of our videos on like any of the streams or the videos from my channel, yeah, that art is absolutely ridiculous. We have some of the most insanely talented people I have ever seen or worked with ever. And players can just jump in and play a couple of sessions and get an art piece of their character realized just like that. And it's all included in the subscription and all that. On top of that, we give out merch occasionally, like once a year or twice a year, something like that, depending on the tier. We make sure that every single player feels welcome into the community, and they actually have a go-to person. Everybody gets their own dedicated guy or gal that introduces them, runs the session 0. They can always talk to no matter what. They're basically like your best friend, pretty much. Almost kind of like a mentor system.
Big brother system, yeah.
Yeah, like, and every single player gets one of those to make sure that they can feel welcome in the community and all that stuff, right? And that's just like a couple of things that we just give out to a couple of the players on top of plenty of other things, right?
So you mentioned West Marches there.
Yeah.
So people can do West Marches stuff, but there's also like more focused campaigns?
Ooh, this is actually the perfect time to ask this question. So I mentioned how we have different versions of Project Aurora. I only mentioned like 0.5 and all that other stuff. When I turned it into a business, we called that Project Aurora 1.0. And then we're technically on 2.0 or 2.5, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're now about to hit Project Aurora 3.0. And 3.0 basically is the return to form to what we kind of did before. With more traditional campaigns or smaller focused groups focused on storytelling, backstory, and all that stuff, alongside the West Marches format as the other game mode, which is more the arcade style game where, the main point is to be able to play D&D and just, just get involved in the setting in general. So the person who maybe their group fell apart, maybe they've never been able to play or they're new to everything, the West Marches is probably for them. The traditional campaign or campaigns game mode is, well, your typical D&D experience, but it's more so, hey, I'm not going to say, like, let's compare it to Critical Role, but I'm going to do that anyway. Sorry. It's basically getting the Critical Role experience, but in a living universe with dozens of other dungeon masters. It's kind of like what most people expect out of Aurora when they first see it, right? So having that massive crossover between campaigns and it really meaning something because these are players who've been playing their characters for literally the past 2 years in that small, tight-knit group. and they're coming together in this Avengers style cataclysmic crossover type stuff. That's what campaigns is kind of built for. Story, camaraderie, and really impact on the world itself.
Okay. So it's kind of like two different products that kind of exist within the same universe.
Exactly, right. Because we kept running into a thing where people would join into PA and they'd be like, this is cool, but like, it's not for me. And I'd be like, well, what do you mean? How could it possibly not be for you? What do you mean? Like, and then it turns out they just wanted more of something that they're kind of used to. They just wanted something smaller scale, but they still wanted that living universe feel. This is the solution to that, right? For that type of player.
Yeah, different things for different people. Yeah, makes sense. I am curious about like the crossover events that you mentioned. I did want to kind of get into that later once we started getting to more like the story for Aurora as fiction instead of as how Sensei Suplex built a thing with people.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, for the character art, do you have like a bunch of different like artists that you're working with, or is it like one person? How's that work?
Yep, we have a whole artist team. One of the things we've always had, it first started with like people just giving art and just like those artists becoming players and stuff like that. Eventually we started recruiting for different artists, or they actually just found us somehow, or their friends recommended them, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, we have a whole dedicated artist team that kind of just takes players' characters. We like use a bot that we programmed. They submit it through the bot, artist picks it up, they draw the character, all that stuff, work with the player, and then boom, they give it back, and it's theirs.
Cool.
Yeah, that's basically how that works.
Okay.
We actually recently got a couple of artists who they don't work officially with Riot, not at all, but they basically, if you've ever seen Riot Games or League of Legends, the amount of the art style for their games are absolutely insane, and we have artists on our team that can pretty much dang near imitate that style, almost one for one.
No, I love that style.
It's so good.
Yeah, and the animated portions to it go even further. But I imagine that's not what you're getting for yours, because that.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, that stuff is
yeah. But yeah, that's how we get the art and all that stuff. It's, oh my goodness, and it's great because they actually get to. I've seen some of the artists just get better and better and better just the longer they've been here, and they're like, yeah, I mean, I love this place. I just get to add more things to my portfolio. So if I ever get hired on by a company, I got tons and tons of things, easy peasy, and they love it. And I'm like, shoot, this works out.
I want to go back to the Big Brother mentor concept. Is that what you're using for like the personality matching for player groups as well? Like, because it feels like it'd be hard to do that off of just like some survey, but if you have someone who's actually talking to someone, you get a better feel for them and you can see where they might fit.
So we've had many iterations on this for a while, for better, for worse. So the current iteration right now, and yeah, we do have that kind of help out with the personality matching. We more so do it for the scope of DMs, and we try to do it as much as we can. But again, the West Marshes, as we figured out, is more for accessibility rather than like, hey, you're getting that perfect ideal group. That would be more of what campaigns is for, right?
Right, yeah.
What we got is we have an application system. Every single player has to do an application. You don't get in if you don't do the application. This is our easiest way to like quickly vet people who may sound like, I may want to join PA, and the people who like really, really want to join it, right?
Yeah.
We go through their questions, all that stuff, and then we either accept or deny them based off of our criteria. And most of it's just pretty much basic stuff like, hey, don't be a jerk. What are you here for? Like, what do you want? What are you looking for? You got to be 18 or older because we don't DM for kids or anything like that. Kind of simple stuff, but yeah, that's kind of how we do it. And then your player manager, that's the Big Brother mentor thing. They come in, they run you through a kind of like a session 0 where it's mainly them explaining the world and like how everything works, but they're also kind of doing a vibe check to make sure that you're a good fit for the community. And they kind of keep an eye on you from there. They kind of fit you with your first DM. They even play alongside you in that first session if they can, and they go from there. And then also they kind of put you in like with these mini communities to make the server a little bit more just manageable or easy to get into.
Okay, gotcha. So there's a bit of moving from like a guided introduction to like doing stuff on your own is the idea.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole West Marches thing. For the campaigns thing, it's kind of just like, yeah, I mean, yeah, we like we have like a 30 question application for the campaigns one. Like we are very serious about that one because I mean,
Yeah.
hey, it makes sense. You're going to be literally in this game for them or with them for like months, and even then, you still got to do session zero. You still got to do like an interview with the DM as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, we are very like particular. I can't think of the word. Insert smart word here.
Thorough?
Thorough, sure, yeah, thorough on how we go about that.
Yeah, yeah. It's I feel like there's a lot of I've heard about a lot of online games falling apart. Um, but I feel like the paid aspect makes that less likely. Like you said, people are more engaged and committed because they're paying for it.
I'll tell you this. It's even cooler. That does definitely help out a lot. But I think I know every single person says this who's ever a creator ever. I get it. But I'll just say what the players have been saying. The players really they come in for the D&D experience, the promise of an awesome game, yada yada yada, but they stay for the community. See, like just yesterday before this interview, we had a person, obviously I won't name them. They ran into some troubles and they had to drop out. They had to like completely go AWOL from the internet. But they loved PA with their heart and soul. They had been gone since I think January this year, but they came back yesterday, and as soon as they came back, everybody just welcomed them back in. New people, old people, they came in, and it was just like a big welcoming party as soon as they returned. And on top of that, they were like within moments they jumped on in, signed up for a bunch of games, and got right back into the saddle. They're now seeing like how all their characters were, what their characters were kind of doing, if they were doing anything as NPCs, because they want them to be NPCs,
Yeah.
but like more so what they were doing over the past couple of months, and they're just picking back up where they left off. And I think that's one of the most underrated things about Project Aurora. Just you can jump in, you can jump out, and we're gonna be there for you. You're gonna be, welcome you with open arms, just as if you never left, right?
Yeah, that's really cool. One of the other things I saw somewhere in one of your videos was having like audience interaction through Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah.
Is that still happening?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The inspiration meta, as I like to call it. So as a streamer, whenever I was trying to look up those videos of like, hey, I got to be the best streamer, or yada yada, I had to figure out a way how to keep people engaged and invested, right? So I had to think of ways how to tie D&D into, well, that engagement, and use D&D and Twitch's kind of engagement mechanics and all that stuff, and just kind of intertwine them. What I mean by that, so basically channel points are a big thing. So channel points are things that viewers just get from watching your stream, and they can spend it on random rewards. Now, most streamers, they just kind of use it where it's just like, oh, play a funny sound effect, or hey, make you take a sip of water or something like that. I said there can be so much more that we can do with this. So we have it where it's like, hey, you can actually leave your mark on this session right now in real time. You can jump into a session and do it. How you watch the stream, you get some channel points, and you give an inspiration die to a player that you're watching on stream. They get it, and that inspiration can be the thing that causes them to either succeed and save the day or not, right? And we obviously have limits on it. And I never balance any of my games around inspiration or anything like that. But the cool part is just everybody really feels like they're able to get involved and see like every little action can leave a mark or leave an impact on anything and anyone. On top of that, we have other cool things where we have channel rewards where, if depending on the session and the session context, that matters a lot. We may have it where if like the chat reaches a certain channel point reward goal, then they'll be able to cause a massive event that will happen that will completely shift the battlefield. So like if they reduce it or redeem enough channel points, a dam is going to break and it's just going to flood the entire battlefield. Right? Like, if you ever played Battlefield 6 or 4, it's called Levolution for anybody out there who knows what I'm talking about.
Okay.
We've had we did a WWE one shot where like player or the viewers could like redeem channel points and throw a steel chair in for the players to use. Like,
genius.
Yeah, like we've done some ridiculous stuff, like serious ridiculous. And one of the coolest things that we're about to do is we're actually about to have it where viewers can actually redeem enough channel points and they can make an NPC that ends up in the world. And on top of that, like my community and staff, they're like, Sensei, this is too ridiculous. We can't do this. And I'm like, but I want to be the guy that tries. But they redeem an NPC, and that's not all. You know The Sims? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so essentially, you can kind of do downtime for your NPC, kind of like The Sims or a Tamagotchi type deal, and you can like level them up or something. This sounds ridiculous and absurd, I know, but if we can get this to work, I'm gonna be so happy. But you level up your NPC the more that you watch your stream, and what I mean by level up is, let's say you make a blacksmith NPC, right? You
Okay.
leveling them up would be, oh, now instead of just selling common items, they can sell magic items. They can sell uncommons. Oh, you leveled them up again. Okay, now they sell rare, legendary, blah, 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 right? Or maybe they actually get a building now rather than just working at some random hut. The point is that you level up your NPC. But the cool part is that, well, this is still D&D. Players can run into said NPC, roleplay with them, interact with them, and it really feels like a giant living open world where everybody's, again, leaving their mark. That's why it's the tagline, right?
Yeah. I think it's a good idea. I think
so many logistics.
like worst thing, like it doesn't hit and you just sort of scrap it. But like if it hits and people like it, then yeah, that's really cool.
Absolutely. I'm always the guy who's like, I'm going to try like 100 ideas. 99 of them are going to suck, but there's going to be that one that completely changes everything. That was the Nemesis system. that was that video.
I see it more as like maybe not an NPC, but like,
yeah,
you know, like in a video game, like some online games where you can like have a house and then you like start customizing your house and adding like furniture and tables and stuff like that. Like it's sort of the equivalent of that, but with a character instead, because that's your thing in RPGs is your character. So it's just an extra character.
Exactly. And then you factor in like the whole living universe aspect and like all the lore that's being tracked with it. So it's like, oh shoot, this person, now they're blacksmith, that can be a shop that any player from now on can just go to and visit, interact with. We even had a thing where I'm even planning for certain players or viewers, they can make a cameo and actually roleplay that NPC. So just some random concept that you kind of came up with, obviously with guidelines, of course, right? That can become an influential figure for the parties ahead. So
yeah, cool.
I think it'd be cool.
Okay, let's talk about how you we talked about this a bit in chats about how like you're more player focused instead of having like sort of, I don't want to say concrete things about the world because it's sort of a living world, but letting it be more player guided than GM guided for what Project Aurora is like. And I kind of see that as a thing for a paid game, like letting people that are paying for an experience have more control over it. Can you talk about like your philosophy for having like more player focused stuff?
Player focus for what specifically? Because I can answer that several ways. Like world building for DMing style, what in particular?
I was thinking world building with that question, but I am interested in the other sides of it. But let's do world building first.
Gotcha. From a world building side, so that's actually one of the big emphasis on 3.0 for campaigns. For West Marches, it's more of like, kind of does feel a little bit like Adventurers League, where it's like, hey, here are the guidelines. You build your character within those guidelines. Have fun. Go crazy. Bob's your uncle, right? Now, we intentionally make a lot of character archetypes and ideas possible within the world. We try our best to not limit the players and their creativity. So, like, even like despite the settings and stuff like that. That's really what I can kind of say for that in terms of the West Marches. For the campaigns, I mean, this isn't like a revolutionary thing, not at all. I'm not going to speak like it is. But the big pull for that is that we're letting players really get involved in having their stories actually affect the world or the lore itself that really other people are going to interact with. For example, in West Marches, I could say, hey, my characters, I don't know, they have a family member, they're evil, or they're sick, I don't know, something like that. And that's not going to be really relevant in a West Marches setting, whether it be ours or just in a normal West Marches game, because of just the idea is that you go on the adventure and it's more focused on the world itself and its story, and you're just kind of a part of it, living in it. compared to,
Uh-huh.
traditional campaigns. It's just like, oh, well, my family member's evil. Well, I'm kind of expecting to, resolve that by the end of the campaign. So, any, like, I don't know, I guess I'm just going with this evil thing. So, like, if I don't know, if your dad's like a evil general, they have like a faction, an army, they have a base of operations, cool. That now becomes the cool thing about Aurora is that in campaigns, that lore or that backstory becomes important because you may get to it, but you never know. Jimmy, across like in another campaign, he might actually get to it and he might, interact with him. He may align himself with your father and you have no idea. And by the time you get there, you see as your father just drops in, it's like, yeah, here, I'll let my recruit deal with it. Turns out it's another player. And holy crap, what are we going to do now? And it becomes a whole big cinematic set piece or story thing that typically wouldn't happen in D&D, but it can happen here because of the open world living universe aspect and all that world building.
Yeah, like having the ability for players to introduce things that, because of the larger world, are relevant for other campaigns, I think is kind of what you meant by player focus. So
Yeah.
I, as a DM, don't have to invent evil villain in Spain. I can just be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, Jimmy had his dad be an evil villain in Spain. I'll just use him, and then Jimmy will have like his little payoff for that creation because now the evil villain dad is doing something.
Yeah, right. Like, and again, nothing. This isn't nothing new to D&D or anything like that. Actually, the first campaign I ran was we did it this way, where I took the players' backstories and what they want to play, and then I built the world around them. We're trying to transition into more of that, but that's obviously really difficult when you got over 100 plus players, right? Which is why it takes time, and that's why we have our lore team for it.
Along that line, I was curious if you'd ever thought about publishing beyond like a living setting into more like having a book for people to read about it.
Yes, the age-old question. The answer is yesn't. So, would it be a cool thing to do? Yes. Is it something that we want to do now? Definitely not. The reason why is because I view it as, hey, a setting book for Aurora could be cool, and it would really, like, solidify, hey, you left your mark, dude. You're literally in a book. Like, that's your character's faction, right? Would be awesome. It'd be insane, right? But no one would really care to actually buy it or use it because they don't really care about me or Project Aurora unless they're probably playing in Project Aurora, right? So
yeah, I see that.
That's why it's just like, and with the amount of resources that would have to go into it, from like the artist to the people writing it to organization to promoting it, like, poof, I don't know if the payoff would be there to justify it, as cool as it could be. And granted, the TTRPG community, they've been great when it comes to Kickstarters, from what I've seen. But I don't think we're there yet to justify it, and like to shift our focus on that right now.
Okay.
That said, we have bigger plans than just a setting book. Instead, our goal is to right now we're in phase 1. More so phase 2, really. Phase 1 was more so just figure out what Project Aurora is supposed to be, figure out, I guess, from a product side, that, hey, this thing can work, and people like it. We kind of figured that out. Part 2 is more so to let more and more people know about it. So we're kind of in more of the marketing and promotion phase. The more people who know about it, the more people who kind of get familiar with the universe, yada, yada, yada. Right. Eventually, once we build, like, let's just say a cult following, right? Then we can transition into phase 3, where I want to make a video game for Project Aurora and using the Aurora verse as the setting. I don't know what type of video game it could be. I love roguelites. It could be a roguelite. It could be a fighting game. We did a little spoof splash art of a Project Aurora fighting game. I don't know what it's going to be, but I do know that it would be awesome to just take it to the next step of being like, hey, let's say, Joe, yeah, your character is literally a fight, or your D&D character that you made is in a fighting game for Project Aurora. How about that for leaving your mark, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Ridiculous.
I was thinking at least like an MMO would be pretty cool because you're sort of structured that.
You would think that, but MMOs, as I understand, they're their own type of beast. They are
Yeah.
alien. They are something, all right.
Yeah,
And
just anything multiplayer introduces like so much additional work you have to do to make it functional.
oh boy, there's so much stuff. It could be so cool for sure, absolutely. But then it's just like, okay, well, there's already the D&D MMO, so it's like we have to change everything, right? Compared to just being like, oh yeah, this is Jim. He is a holy warrior, and whenever he hits you really hard, some divine light comes in and smites you down. You'll never know that's a paladin. I mean, you can't really say that's a paladin, but obviously, if you're a D&D player, you know that dude's probably a paladin, right?
Yeah,
But we don't have to say that. But past just the video game thing, the real end game is we want to make a feature film with Project Aurora. Well, lore being the story, right? Or just like a story that's whether it's on Netflix, whether it's like literally in theaters, something like that. But I want it to be where 15 years down the line, like let's say, imagine this: you played in a raid, it was with like 30 people, it was a big historical event in the lore, the world, people see this all the time. That's cool. But what if you're sitting there with your kids in the theaters and you can literally get to look towards your child, point towards the screen, and be like, that's my character. I remember doing that 15 years ago. Ridiculous. Absurd. I want to do that. I think that'd be a feeling that no one could ever emulate ever. And I think actually pull it off in.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
But yeah, that's the end game. So like setting book, probably at some point, but it's not the focus right now. We're just focusing on letting more people know about Aurora and fine tuning it as we go.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Still building up where they get bigger and bigger. I understand that completely. Well, along that idea of getting bigger and bigger, for other organizations like Project Aurora, from what I've seen, once they get big enough, they start branching out beyond D&D for the campaigns they offer. So not just like D&D, but also like Daggerheart, Draw Steel, all the new systems that are coming out. Is that something that you're interested in, or maybe not interested on your own, but it is happening in the server?
So in the server, there's been plenty of individuals, and I love it. Like I know there's a group of individuals who play like Lancer on Wednesdays, and there's another group who runs a Pathfinder game, right? I've only played D&D Pathfinder in like maybe one Call of Cthulhu game at a convention. That's really it. And the reason why is because I want to be hyper focused on providing the best experience within this system or this medium, and then transition afterwards if I want to another thing. Or just keep doing it, right? When it's especially for a living universe setting where there's crossovers involved, introducing another system, whew, oh boy. So like imagine trying to like have a crossover between one group playing D&D and another group playing Pathfinder Second Edition. Sure, it's similar, but man, oh boy. Imagine that on a more extreme scale. Imagine Call of Cthulhu in D&D. Ridiculous. Like,
I mean, even just fourth edition D&D and the other editions, it's sometimes difficult to make equivalent characters.
Exactly, right? So it's like, oh, well, what do? Do you make a new character that's within that system? Do you just have them play with each other? Do you have it where no combat happens? Like, what do you do? It's such a like, oh man, it's a headache and a half to think about. It's just, you know what? I think I'm just gonna do D&D for a bit, and then we're gonna figure it out later.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
But we actually did talk about one TTRPG I really want to play. It's by the Dungeon Coach, DC-20. That looked really cool. It's like a mishmash of 5th edition and then Pathfinder 2nd edition. And it looked awesome. So I want to try that and Draw Steel at some point. Same thing with Daggerheart. There's so much stuff, man. This is why I can't choose another system. I just gotta. It's for my better sake. It's for my better sake. Yeah.
Swords of the Serpentine might also be cool.
Oh goodness.
All right. Okay. I think I've reached about all I wanted to talk about for like the Project Aurora as a like organization. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we got into more like the world side of stuff?
I don't necessarily got anything. Yeah, I want to know. It would depend on what other people would want to hear.
Okay. I guess some people might be interested in your Nemesis stuff, the Nemesis system, because I know that's a very popular video of yours on YouTube. So
Yeah,
I guess
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, a quick 5-minute introduction on how you use that.
Got you. So, the Nemesis system, basically so most people will have heard of Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War. Warner Brothers, it's the Lord of the Rings game, right? And basically, the reason why that game is really, really popular is because it had a revolutionary mechanic known as, well, the Nemesis system. And the Nemesis system, in general, is just basically enemies aren't stupid. Basically, they remember who you are, what you did, how you killed them, how they killed you, and they level up just like the player typically would. That's the idea of the Nemesis system in a nutshell. And I needed to run a new campaign. And that campaign, well, I typically start off with a big bad evil guy. And I was like, well, who the heck should be the BBG? I don't know. I'm like, I could pull from these old guys, but I could pull from this one villain that I used a couple of years ago, but that never got explained or wrapped up. Problem is he was fighting level 17s. My characters are level 1. I can't do that. So I was like, crap, what the heck do I do? So I came up with like, well, I could make this one random villain, but I don't even know if they're going to like that villain or if they're even going to care about him. So, like, I just couldn't understand what the heck I could possibly do. And then I thought about it. I was like, well, the thing that most people care about is their backstories or the things that they really have a say in it. What if I made a system that, well, they have the most say in it? AKA, their failures is the reason why BBEGs exist. AKA, Nemesis system does exist. It does have a little bit of a controversial thing around it. You know what? I think I could take a little thing or two from here and then kind of tag it along into D&D. And honestly, it makes sense because most DMs do this anyways. I mean, most DMs have, enemies that remember you and react to the party's consequences. This isn't anything new. It's
Right,
more
yeah.
so, it's more so, one, really emphasizing it, and then two, the big part, having it where any single enemy can become the next BBEG. So it's not that you pre-make villains that you intend to become the big bad. It's that goblin that just shot Johnny's character and shot him down the wizard and 8 damage. He is now the BBEG. Why? Because he's now getting this power kind of infused into him. He's becoming stronger, and now he's going on a rampage and killing spree, killing one player over there, killing another player over here. He's getting strong and ridiculous. And now we're giving him more of a personality. We're fleshing him out more and more, figuring out who this random goblin or warrior is. And the players want to kill him because they're the reason why he got this powerful in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like the intention was not to design a villain that the players hate, but to pick a character the players hate and make that the villain.
Exactly. And so I had to figure out, this is actually one of my favorite lines in that video, the first video. What motivates characters or players more? I mean, sure, their backstories. I mean, yeah, but what motivates them more is pettiness and spite. I mean, it's not a case of the goblin just killed, your character with a bow and arrow, or they killed another player's character with a bow and arrow. They killed that character with your bow and arrow. They killed them with your weapon or your ability. You are the problem. You caused this, and you have to deal with it, or it's going to get worse, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically the Rising Rivals and Ascending Ally system in a nutshell. And it's gone through many, many iterations over time. And before that video was made, I actually had to run a campaign. I ran 6 campaigns, I believe, 6 or 7 campaigns. Yeah, 7 campaigns before making that video, just to make sure that I had the system down pat. And then afterwards, I expanded on it again. And there's also a secret hidden video that I haven't released that goes even further in depth that no one knows about, but a bunch of players in the Discord know about. That takes all the concepts of the Nemesis system and then it flips it, does a 180 on it, and takes it to the next level again. Oh man.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah. For the world, the thing I was curious about that kind of connects to like the organization would be what are the biggest crossover events that you've had where like you have that like Avengers feeling of all the different groups getting together to take down one big evil threat.
So I was actually talking to a couple of staff members about this, actually like an hour or two ago, or yeah, 2 or 3 hours ago. And there's three answers to this. It depends on what you're looking for. So I would say the three categories are the biggest raid, aka whichever one had the most amount of people. And that would be our most recent raid or second most recent raid that we just ran, Seraph Prime Sinister Saga, where we had 40 players and about 40 players and 5 DMs running that, all at the same time, which was, oh my gosh, that was insane. It was so cool.
Yeah.
That was insane. And we had been building up to that raid itself for months. And but that's the biggest number count in Project Aurora history so far. The most intricate raid would probably, like, what I mean by intricate, I would mean this took the most time and staff getting involved to make it actually work. And that would be the Dragon's Omen raid that we ran last year at the end of our last chapter. So the reason why that's the most intricate is because we had 5 continents, or 4 or 5 continents, each with their own DM team, and they all had a head of Tiamat, basically, to run, or like a specific dragon that kind of represented one of the heads of Tiamat.
Okay.
And that was their BVEG for that entire continent, their player base, for a year. So it was a year's worth of building up more and more and more stuff. From just a random lore bit that happened in my first ever campaign for Project Aurora. So tied that callback all the way from then, brought it back into 2024 or something like that, or 2024. And then we had a massive scale set of sessions and raids that were the cause of all that stuff. It was so many moving pieces, but it was so cool. It had an awesome payoff.
This is interesting. I feel like using Tiamat as like a big villain is still very popular. Just like the biggest dragon. You gotta do that.
Like, come on, like you've now gone through dungeons and now you've slayed dragons. This is the end of this chapter. We had to do it. Like, come on, dog.
Yeah. No, I like it.
And then the most impactful or coolest was probably our very first raid. This was like actually like show that we could actually do this type of stuff. The reason why this one was impactful or cool was because it introduced like the big evil guy that would be kind of like the big evil faction or entity across every single Aurora game to some degree before it just recently got wiped out. But this was the Soul Spire raid. It was the equivalent, to put it in perspective, it was the equivalent of the Avengers Endgame moment where everybody's coming out of the portals and stuff like that to aid in one single fight. Because this was when this was right before I started becoming a professional DM, and it was right when we had started streaming everything. So we had dungeon masters who have been running their own specific campaign. Like, imagine you in your home game, right? You've been playing it from level 1 to level 12 for basically a year or so. And now your party is called in for a massive world-shattering event to be able to do your part and defend the planet that you live on. And you come in and you see not dozens of other players, or excuse me, not dozens of other NPCs, but dozens of other actual players with their own stories, their own histories, their own bonds, all that stuff, all coming together for this one single thing. It was monumental. It's not, hey, you're Soldier B. That's Ant-Man, that's Thor, that's Iron Man, that's Captain America. It was that type of impact, or, I don't know, cool factor, rather.
Yeah, cool.
So that would be me failing to choose one answer for your question instead of choosing 3.
I mean, it's good. Like, I like that stuff. Well, yeah, let's talk about the actual world. So Project Aurora, as I understand it, is not a single world, but instead is a couple of connected planets. Is that right?
Ooh, this is a fun one. Yes, it is. So it is a universe. So most people know the term living world. We go by living universe. And the reason why is because, well, yeah, there's multiple planets that anybody can play on at any time. Each of the planets, they are separated by setting, and they can be separated sometimes by system, like game system. Like we could run Pathfinder on another one, we could run Call of Cthulhu on another one, whatever. But they're typically separated by setting. So we have one setting that's a high fantasy setting, pretty standard D&D stuff. We call that planet Tahiri. We have another one that's more of like Greek mythology, Norse mythology. We call that planet Phoenix. We also have a post-apocalyptic planet where everything got messed up. There's a zombie apocalypse, there's a vampire apocalypse, there's an El Chator. It's awful. That planet sucks.
Yeah.
And then there's even a cyberpunk planet where there's literally Night City and our own version of Night City as well, and tons of other stuff. And then there's even a sci-fi planet, which is like Guardians of the Galaxy-esque, or rather than like, I don't know, Mass Effect, you know? But each planet has its own setting and its own set of stories that we can explore.
Well, I guess follow up on that is like, are you using D&D for each of those? Because it feels like the sci-fi one that D&D wouldn't really fit there. I mean, you could make it work for the other ones.
All of its flavor. So I actually, I actually love doing that anyways. Where people love to yell at me. They're like, "Sensei, why don't you just use Cyberpunk Red for the Cyberpunk campaign?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't want to play Cyberpunk Red. I want to play D&D, dog." And they're like, "Ah!" And I make it work. Like I make it work. I know that Cyberpunk is one of my favorite genres, and it works the same way with sci-fi. It's just we flavor a lot of different things. So it's not, hey, I am a wizard literally with glasses and a spell book. It's I am a hacker that works for a corrupt organization. I'm working for Arasaka, and I went to I was actually an engineer in college, dog, and then I dropped out, became a hacker or something like that, and here I am. That's a wizard in our world. So we can always do a lot of stuff with different reflavoring and very little change the mechanics from what we've seen.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
that's
so
basically
fun.
what the artificer is anyway. It's like a wizard that's reflavored as an inventor.
Exactly, right? Like we've done tons and tons of stuff, so that's why we never need to run another system, and unless we really, really just want to play that system.
Yeah. All right. I easily see how D&D works for a Greek world. Like I'm doing that for my system, my setting at home, and yeah, for an apocalypse one, I mean, that's kind of what Curse of Strahd is anyways.
Yeah. Like, we used to have we wanted to play basically Theros, but we had to change it up a little bit, so that's why we made Planet Phoenix. Because I just wanted to run a God of War campaign, because I was like, dude, I've never ran high level. I want to just have players fight the gods. This is going to be awesome. They had so much fun. I actually ran that campaign 3 times total, because players just want to keep playing it.
Cool. Have you seen the Odyssey of Dragonlords?
Odyssey of Dragonlords. Ooh, no, what's that?
It's a similar concept where like it's a Greek mythology based campaign and campaign world. It's like a single package. I'm playing through it with one of the groups I'm in right now.
Ooh, this is cool.
The Titans are coming back. They're banished for 500 years. Now they're coming back, and everyone's like, oh no, what do we do?
Yeah. Oh man, this is awesome. I'm looking at the art for it.
Yeah, it's got some really nice art.
I've seen that before. That's where that's from. Okay.
Yeah, uses D&D. It's got a cool couple of little archetypes for Greek mythology stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So do you have like little extra bits for like, you know, like the like a hacker archetype for wizards, for example, for your campaign?
Can you go in depth? Like, do we like change anything up for like specific classes or races, or?
I meant like providing extra options. So like, you know, the fighters have like Battlemaster Champion, like those are like their options for like the standard D&D world. Along with all the other ones.
Let me tell you, we have a whole constant expansion team. That is their job. They just make more stuff for players. It's awesome. We have a wizard that's called Martial Magi, where it's the wizard that casts Punch. You literally are a monk wizard where you tattoo your entire spell book on your body, and you go to town just punching people and infusing spells into your fists. We have another monk class that basically turns you into John Wick, where it's called Way of Gunkata, where you get to use firearms and punch, like, obviously, like, unarmed strikes and stuff like that. And in lore, it's one of the most dangerous subclasses to ever do because, well, you kind of can't practice with guns. If you get shot, dog. So like these guys, they're like trained, like extremely highly trained individuals on assassins and stuff like that. There's a Valkyrie fighter. Oh my gosh, there's an Infernal Heritage sorcerer that's based off of Devil May Cry. There's so many things that we have in this friggin' setting. It's so much, and it's so cool.
Yeah, neat. Yeah, I mean, it's great to have that as options as a player.
Yeah. And I could go on and on. Like that's just like classes, right? Like I think I showed you the art of Ping. He's the blue guy. He's called a bijou. So they're like individuals made out of like raw magic or raw mana crystals and stuff like that. There's so many options. I think we have over 80, but now I think we're getting close to over 100 character options from like subclasses and species and races and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, that's great. That's the kind of stuff you could put into a book.
Yeah, right. Don't you sell me on it?
Well, yeah, let's take a broader look at the universe. So, is each of the different worlds have like the same pantheon, or are they kind of separated a little bit?
Yeah, so we went back and forth on it. Ultimately, what we said is that the pantheon remains the same across the world. It's just people have different interpretations of it. So, like, it's how we can get away with saying how our storm god is also Thor in another place, right? It's just they're the same person. It's just this guy thinks of him this way, this guy thinks of him that way. That's it, right?
Yep. Good old syncretism. Yep.
Exactly, right. And we've over the years had to change a lot of the lore of the divine. We've also had players make their own divine. Some even ascended to like godhood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just another cool thing that Aurora can kind of do. That hey, I'm worshiping Tala. You're worshiping who? Yeah, I'm worshiping Tala. Wait, Tala's my character. I played them 8 years ago. What? And like we've had conversations like that. It's so awesome.
Yeah. I think that kind of stuff is inevitable in any long-running campaign where you start having pieces from previous campaigns coming into ones that you have subsequently. So yeah, that's really neat.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like a loose pantheon of gods where we don't necessarily have like Zeus is at the top with Hera, and then he's got all of his little children and their little children, and like having a specific family tree. It's more like the undefined structure that the standard D&D pantheon has.
Yeah, more or less. Like the Pantheon isn't really the focus of the world. Like I kind of mentioned this before, I think in like chat. Like the emphasis is more on the players themselves making the lore rather than you coming in. Like a new player joining Aurora, like you should be more focused on like the stories that you're going to be able to tell and the stories that you're going to be able to hear from other players rather than, oh, what's the lore of the elves in Leonios? I mean, there's going to be times in campaigns where that's going to be a big focus, but like in the general West Marches or the average player, they're probably not going to be really caring about that. And we lead into it.
It is so hard to get players to read the stuff. Like,
yeah,
if they come into a new game and you be like, here's 25 pages to read, they're not like, you're lucky if they read one page.
Or really lucky. You'll be lucky if they open the book. But yeah, you know.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I mean, the most interesting thing that we have about the Divine is that, I mean, it's not really that interesting, but we got this from Theros because we used to originally use Theros as Pantheon at some point, but we changed it up where the gods are only as strong as their followers. So the more worship the followers give, the stronger the god actually is. So by technicality, anybody can become a god if they have enough followers or worshippers. It also means that anything can become a god. So I don't know if you worship a big old orb. I don't know, a big old orb. If enough people are convinced that that orb can control the sun, it'll become the orb of the sun god or something like that. It can actually happen. Granted,
yeah, that's a pretty common thing.
Like it's not gonna happen too often, but it can happen. So it just seemed like the best way to fit with the whole living universe aspect, so that's why we went with it.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, like I said, I think that's a pretty common idea that your
Yeah.
power as a god derives from how many worshippers you have within D&D systems.
Yeah, so it's nothing really special with it. It's pretty straightforward.
I guess it's kind of hard to ask like what's your campaign like because you've had like I don't know if you even want to count how many exist at this point within Project Aurora.
I don't know.
Maybe I have a more specific question here. You mentioned the Sins of Sand.
Or Sands of Sin. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you mentioned the Sands of Sin campaign that was like one of the starting points for Project Aurora. Why don't we talk about that campaign just to give like a more like focused snapshot of what the world is like?
I got you. So how about this? I'm gonna help you out. So Sands of Sin was actually a different setting that was actually kind of alien to the rest of the Aurora world, which actually was kind of the whole point of it. It was to get new people, or it was to get people like kind of invested into a new setting and a better start off point. So how about this? How about instead I tell you about the first campaign that I ran, and the reason why that one's more relevant is because one, it's in the broader world of Aurora, and then two, because 3.0 we actually are going back to that setting after having going to that in several years.
Okay, yes, thank you. That sounds better then. Let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. So Leonios Rising. So I way back when was playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Odyssey and then some other game that I can't remember off the top of my head. I was like, okay, I know my players are very chaotic at the very least, and I know they don't like authority. So let's do a campaign where we're going to do a revolution. Hence the name Leonios Rising, right? And
Right.
I was like, okay. So the lay of the land is that basically there's this guy, there's this royal family, the Godfrey family or something like that. Basically, they came in, and for whatever reason, the dragons started attacking the entire continent, the city of or the continent of Leonios. Started ravaging whole places, civilizations, yada yada yada. This royal family in particular, they made something known as the Orbs of Dragonkind. We had a lot of leeway with what they do in our world compared to what they typically do in D&D, but that's besides the point. They use these Orbs of Dragonkind to basically lure all the dragons towards one central location, and then the royal family used the power of the sun god, Lumiere, to smite them all down, smite pretty much almost all the dragons, and save the day. So there are dragons still in the world, but they're not too numerous. Fast forward, if you don't know, the Orbs of Dragonkind, they actually make you kind of insane. They twist and warp your personality, and it's kind of like the ring from Lord of the Rings, from how I interpret it.
All right, you're going with that. Okay.
Yeah. So like that's basically what happened to the king and the royal family after they used it, and they started getting twisted. They started doing all these horrible tragedies and atrocities, yada yada yada, and they threw the whole kingdom into disarray. Until a group of people, or the players in this case, they form a revolution and they, unite and try to take down the royal family and liberate Leonios. That's the premise of that campaign. And that went on for about a year or so. But as most campaigns, it didn't finish because we got bored and we wanted to kill gods. And we played the God of War campaign. But yeah.
I mean, I love the orbs idea. I've always thought they're a really cool magic item, and yeah, why don't you keep going on how it ties into 3.0?
Sure. So how it ties into 3.0. So Leonios was, I'll give for those who are interested in the meta aspect and the in-universe aspect of this. So from a meta aspect, Leonios was our playground when we first started playing Project Aurora. Originally, every DM, ran something there. So because of that, it became a hodgepodge and collage of random DM stuff. We didn't know what we were doing, so it was very disorganized, and no one really wrote stuff down. We didn't know what we were doing, right? So when we eventually did the West Marches style, I wanted to make a completely new setting to have a complete fresh start. And I said, no more campaigns on Leonios. We're just going to focus on these new things like Keeper's Coast, Altage, yada, yada, yada. We're going there. And what we said in lore was that Leonios was such a terrible place that basically it's been like No one can get in and no one can get out, which is why it's so terrible. On top of that, anybody who tries to get in, they're basically like there's the monsters that destroy the ships or boats or anything like that. And if you are that's basically the premise of it, right? And now for 3.0, we decided to go back to this setting because it was the one big glaring loose end that was never tied up this entire continent's existence. So that's what we're doing. So these new set of campaigns for that campaigns mode I was talking,
Yep.
take place about 20 or 10 to 20 years in the future from that very first campaign of Project Aurora, Leonios Rising. And it is funny enough that original revolution has been going on for damn near 20 years. It's a long time. And it's gotten to the point where the people who are part of the revolution, they can't necessarily decide on how they want to overthrow the king. So much so, they've split off into 5 different regions. So it's almost like 5 different revolutions going on all at once. Is chaos. So it's the player's job, as they're individuals from different regions, different backgrounds and more, trying to unite all the 5 different individuals under one ideology of how, well, 1, the revolution should take place, and 2, how rulership should be, dealt with after the fact. So one philosophy is just like, oh, to rule is to be free, to be able to choose whatever you want. Another one is to rule is to endure trials and tribulations. Another one is to, like, the typical be powerful, to be strong, blah, 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 blah. All these different philosophies, all these different ideologies, and it's up to the players to decide who will become king by the end of it and how that's going to shape Leonios forever, and also to liberate it so people can interact with it from other places in the world. That is 3.0, and that is the story of Leonius that we're getting ready to tell in literally 3 weeks.
Okay, cool. Let's be starting before this episode comes out.
Shoot, then there you go. Go ahead and join Project Aurora now. You can become a player.
Yeah, why don't you give your spiel on that? How do people join?
So how people join, so we actually just revamped this a little while ago. So basically, you join into the Discord. Everything is handled in the Discord. We have an application process. There's 3 little channels. It's Start Here, Join Aurora, and How It Works at the time of this recording. They're like the little wavings. The channels are designated by like a little waving emoji and green check marks. You go there, you read about Aurora. You may watch a video or 2 just to get a feel of what's happening here. And then you decide your path. You decide, hey, do you want to be a part of like a smaller party with 1 DM, a gripping story that you can shape, and you're really focusing on backstory and impact? If so, campaigns mode is going to be for you. Or if you're just here looking to be able to play with dozens of players, hopping into sessions with different DMs, teams, more so focused on just playing D&D and going about the world, West Marches mode is for you. So you choose whichever mode based off of what style of play that you're looking for. And afterwards, sign up, you fill that application out, we contact you, and then the rest is history. You get to playing some D&D.
All right, yeah. I think we covered all the points that I was thinking we should get to for this. Did you have anything else you wanted to bring up?
I would say, kind of to add on to the thing I was just talking about earlier, for Aurora, it can seem very much intimidating at first. It's such a big scale, such a big scope. People are like, man, this is a lot. I just want to roll dice with my friends. But here's the thing. Aurora is one of the best places you can actually start learning to play D&D. We've actually had plenty of people jump on in and have this be the first thing that when it comes to touching a dice ever at all. On top of that, so we're very much newbie friendly. We're very much we can cater to hardcore people who have maybe fallen out of love with D&D or just TTRPGs in general, be it because their group wasn't necessarily the greatest or they just got busy or whatever. Aurora's always been like one of the best places you can get a new type of D&D experience that will inspire you and show you that this game can be played in ways you never thought possible, right? The other thing that I would say is though most of our players are EST, we have people from across the entire planet playing in Aurora. We have people who are PST, so like in California and stuff like that. We have people who are literally in Europe. We have people who are in Japan, South Africa, like everywhere. People are playing in Project Aurora. So chances are, if you can be available for 3 hours, maybe even 2, just once a week, or maybe even not even once a week, just maybe even once every other week, we'll probably have a spot or a table for you at PA. So that's one thing or 2 things I would probably add to that. Other than that, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. That's something that I feel like a lot of other things don't offer, like being able to just like join whenever you want is a pretty unique thing for D&D. Usually it's much more hyper scheduled kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Like I'm a forever DM. I run 3 to 4 games a week, right? And I get to play in Project Aurora all the time. And the reason why is because it's just, oh shoot, I have a bit of free time. Are there any quests going on today? Oh, there is. Cool, sweet. I'm gonna join in that. And I just join in with my character that I already had. I continue playing and I level them up and I have a great time. We've had plenty of people who would never be able to play in a D&D game because of their schedule, finally be able to do so with this type of format.
Well, yeah, thanks, Sensei Suplex. I always finish up by asking if you have any DMing advice for people. You got anything you want to send off there?
Can I do 2 or is that cheating? I can pick one.
You can do 2. Yeah, do what you want.
All right. I would say the first thing is it kind of goes back to originally what I was talking about for when I first started DMing professionally. Ultimately, people want to have fun. And I get a lot of questions for like completely new players that don't know anything about D&D or whatever, and they ask, how do you win D&D? And there is a way to do it. It's really 2 steps. 1, you make sure everybody's comfortable. Cool. If everybody's comfortable at the table, then you can do number 2, which is to ultimately make sure that everybody's able to have fun. If you're able to have everybody have fun, like they show up, they're able to all the time, be able to laugh, be able to cry, all that sort of stuff, and they're also comfortable to express themselves and do so, then that's all that really matters. At the end of the day, D&D is a social game, so you don't have to worry about having crazy plot hooks, crazy NPCs, doing wacky voices. All you got to do is just make sure everybody's comfortable to express themselves and ultimately curate experience that you and your friends can get together and have fun. That's it. Just laugh. Just laugh and have fun.
Yeah, cool.
The second thing of advice that I would give, probably my newer one that I would say, that I think a lot of people are very scared to do. But honestly, try stuff and break stuff. Don't be scared to always, this sounds so intense, but conform to the ways of D&D or TTRPGs and all the precedent about it. What I mean by that is be willing to try stuff, be willing to eventually homebrew or just do stuff that works, maybe not necessarily for another group or 2 other groups, but maybe works for your group, and just be willing to try it. That Nemesis System video, it got 144,000. It's at 144,000 views. That's a lot. Now, I typically get like 500 to 2,000 views at the time, and that's still a lot of people, but not 144,000. And the cool thing is that I just simply tried an idea that I didn't think was going to work, but I just was willing to take a chance, and tons of players love it. That's a new mechanic that I'm using in every single one of my campaigns going forward, and I've helped thousands of people at this point implement it into their own games and affect their world. But it all came down to me just trying something and just willing to give it a shot. So ultimately, try stuff, break stuff, and you never know what may come out of it. That's my advice.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Yeah, I think that's maybe not just advice for D&D.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess you're right.
All right, well, cool. Sensei Suplex, it was great talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Thank you for listening to Sensei Suplex. Tell us about Project Aurora. If the project sounds interesting to you, or if you want to watch some of Sensei Suplex's YouTube videos about DMing, there is a link to all of Sensei Suplex's different social profiles and the Discord for Project Aurora and the YouTube channel. There's a link to all that stuff in the episode notes where you can go to each of the different links from that link. This episode is sponsored by Darren from Patreon. Thank you, Darren. And if anyone wants to come on the show, we're looking for guests. So there's a little survey link in the episode description that you can fill out, or you can come chat with other past guests or myself on the Discord. Thank you for listening.